Over 100 years ago, a man named Caleb Bradham invented what is now one of the most popular soft drinks in the entire world. Caleb had a passion for improving the health of others. His dreams of becoming a doctor were ruined because of an unfortunate event, but that didn't hinder him. He continued to pursue his healthcare ambition. It was on this journey that Bradham invented Pepsi. Though he didn't live to see the company he created become one of the most recognizable brands in the world, Caleb Bradham's legacy continues to live on through this widely loved soft drink. This is the story of Pepsi. Welcome to Planet Biz. Rocky beginnings. Caleb Bradham was born in Chinquapin, North Carolina on the 27th of May, 1867. In 1886, Bradham enrolled into the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. After graduating from this university, Caleb went on to pursue his dreams of working as a healthcare professional. He attended the University of Maryland School of Medicine in the hopes of becoming a medical doctor. While he was in medical school, Caleb also worked part-time in a local drugstore as a pharmacy apprentice. Unfortunately, Bradham's dreams of becoming a medical doctor would soon be crushed. Around 1890, his father's business ran into a crisis which led it to going bankrupt. As expected, funds began to run out. Caleb had to leave medical school. His family just couldn't afford the expenses anymore, but Caleb wasn't going to give up that easy. The invention of Pepsi. When his father's financial situation forced him to leave medical school, Caleb returned to North Carolina, bringing his passion for healthcare with him. Upon getting back home, Caleb worked as a school teacher in New Bern for a while. Eventually, Caleb returned to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. This time, however, he enrolled in the School of Pharmacy. After he graduated, he opened his own drugstore in New Bern. It was in this pharmacy, which he named Bradham Pharmacy, that Caleb made and sold the first ever Pepsi Cola. The creation of Pepsi was born out of Bradham's wish to improve the health of the patrons of his business, as well as to keep them coming back. He also wanted to create a soft drink that didn't have any of the narcotics which were commonly found in soft drinks at the time. Caleb experimented with various different recipes until he found one that was a hit among his customers. This drink contained a combination of vanilla, cola nut extract, and rare oils. It was first created in 1893 and was fondly known as Brad's Drink. Bradham believed he had found the perfect recipe. It was narcotic-free, loved by his customers, and to him, it was much more than just a refreshment. It was healthy too. He not only saw his drink as one that was completely free from harmful side effects, but he also believed that it aided digestion, much like the pepsin enzyme does. Eventually, on the 28th of August, 1898, Bradham officially changed the name of his drink from Brad's Drink to Pepsi Cola after the digestive enzyme. But contrary to speculations and some rumors, Pepsi Cola never actually contained pepsin. Even before the drink was renamed, there was already a high demand for it among the residents of New Bern, where Bradham's pharmacy was located. As customer demand continued to rise, Bradham decided to leave his pharmacy business and concentrate fully on producing and selling this soft drink. On December 24, 1902, Caleb Bradham incorporated the Pepsi Cola Company. He officially became the president of the Pepsi Cola Corporation. In 1903, Caleb also registered the Pepsi Cola trademark. This trademark was one of the first in the history of the U.S. Patent Office. That same year, demand for the Pepsi Cola was so high that Caleb couldn't continue producing the drink in his drugstore. To keep up with this high demand, he rented a warehouse that was located near his pharmacy and moved production of the drink to this new rented building. Brad displayed a knack for business. He had already begun advertising his drink in newspapers like the New Bern Weekly Journal. Pepsi's theme line at the time was exhilarating, invigorating, aids digestion. In the first year of operation at his new production plant, almost 8,000 gallons of Pepsi Cola were sold. But this was just the beginning of Bradham's success. The rise of Pepsi. The Pepsi Cola Company grew quickly. Demand continued to increase, and Bradham continued to expand his company to meet it. He moved the production of Pepsi Cola yet again to another building this time, a building he bought rather than rented. The new location was known as the Bishop Factory, and he paid $5,000 for it. That year, sales more than doubled, and almost 20,000 gallons of Pepsi Cola were sold. Caleb continued to work intensely towards the growth of his business. He started selling Pepsi Cola in 6-ounce bottles. Prior to that, the drink was sold only in a syrup. The pharmacist displayed a lot of business sense. He began to sell franchises in 1905, starting with just 2, one in Charlotte and another in Durham, North Carolina. In 1906, the United States government passed the Pure Food and Drug Act. This act prohibited harmful substances like arsenic, lead, barium, and uranium from being present in food, drugs, or beverages. The legislation was a giant hurdle for a lot of food and drink manufacturers, including the soft drink company Coca-Cola, which had to change its formula. However, Pepsi Cola was completely free from all of the impurities. In an innovative move, the company used the fact that their original recipe already met federal requirements as part of a publicity strategy. The Pepsi Cola company began to advertise its drink as a pure food drink. This won many Americans over because it was considered as a much safer alternative. As the years passed, Pepsi Cola company began to grow at an amazing rate. They registered their trademark in other countries including Mexico and Canada. The company became a pioneer in modernized delivery systems by being one of the first to ditch the horse-drawn carriage and use motor vehicles to deliver their products. By 1910, just 5 years after the company began selling franchises, Pepsi Cola had about 250 bottlers operating in 24 states in the US. That year, the company held their first ever bottlers convention in New Bern. Bradham continued to be innovative in the growth of his business. Under his leadership, the company began successful ad campaigns by partnering up with women and celebrities to advertise their drink. A prominent celebrity who was a pioneer of automobile racing, Barney Oldfield, endorsed Pepsi Cola in newspaper advertisements. In these ads, he referred to the drink as a bully drink, refreshing, invigorating, a fine bracer before a race. To say the least, Pepsi Cola's sales were going great, with well over 100,000 gallons of sales yearly. Unfortunately, things were not going to remain that way. Bradham was going to make a decision that would turn out to be the downfall of the Pepsi Cola company. The crash of Pepsi Cola. So far, the growth of the company had progressed relatively hitch-free, but that was about to change. To say that the Pepsi Cola company went through hard times would be an understatement. They were about to face some challenges that even modernization and innovative advertising wouldn't help them solve. It all began with World War I. During the war, the price of sugar increased, and in addition to that, there was also a severe rationing of the high-demand sweetener. Because of the high price and the scarcity of sugar, Bradham struggled to produce enough to keep up with the demand for Pepsi Cola. Sales plummeted, and Bradham tried everything he could to keep customers satisfied. He tweaked the formula of the drink, trying out different sugar substitutes, such as molasses. However, he couldn't find a suitable replacement for sugar, as all the substitutes he had tried disappointed customers. After the war ended, sugar prices rose drastically from 3 cents per pound to 28 cents. This increase occurred because the US government lifted the price controls, which it had put in place during the war. Bradham bought a large quantity of sugar at this price, speculating that the cost of the commodity would increase. However, his prediction was wrong. Not long after he made this large purchase, the sugar market crashed and the price of sugar fell steeply. So here was Bradham with an inordinate amount of sugar that he had recently acquired at what had by then become a ridiculous price. With no way to recover his losses, Caleb Bradham was left with no choice. On the 31st of May, 1923, Pepsi Cola officially declared bankruptcy. Still just as concerned about people's health, Bradham returned to his job as a full-time pharmacist in his drugstore in New Bern. The Pepsi Cola company and its trademark assets were bought for about $30,000 by Craven Holding Corporation. About 8 years after it was sold, the Pepsi company once again went bankrupt and was sold to Loft Candy Company. Pepsi Reborn. Charles Guth was the president of Loft Candy, the company that bought Pepsi Cola. He was looking for a replacement for Coca-Cola in his store's soda fountains because the Coca-Cola company had refused to give him additional discounts. The formula of Pepsi Cola was changed, and the popularity of the drink continued to grow. Their low prices and innovative advertising boosted the drink's fame. The first ever jingle to be played on radio was created to advertise the company's low-priced, satisfying drink. This jingle helped double the sales of Pepsi Cola. Since then, the company has grown vastly, surviving several ups and downs. Now known simply as Pepsi, This drink is one of the most popular in the entire world, raking in billions of dollars in sales from over 200 countries around the world. For more inspiring business stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. This is Planet Biz.